I still got 2 minutes. They're ready. Get to it. I just wanted to get ahead of any technological issues.
Yeah. I'll take a picture of 2 minutes first.
Morning.
All right, well, welcome everybody. We'd like to start our forum this morning with the Pledge of Allegiance, so everybody could stand if you're able.
That's right.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'd like to welcome everybody to the Village of Fredonia Candidate Forum. This morning's event is sponsored by the Mid-Moraine Municipal Association. My name is Scott Middlestead. I'm the Executive Director of Mid-Moraine. The Mid-Moraine Municipal Association is made up of elected officials from 13 cities and villages throughout Ozaukee and Washington County, and is an association that strives for municipal improvement. I'd like to thank Chris Jenkins, Village Administrator, Michelle Johnson, Village Clerk, for all their hard work and help in making this event possible. Thank you very much, Chris. The forum is a part of our ongoing voter education effort to help voters make informed decisions and at the upcoming election. We hope that over the course of this program, you will learn more about the candidates and what they hope to do for the Village of Fredonia. This morning's forum is being recorded on Zoom and will be available to the public for viewing at a later date. The rules of the forum for this morning. The candidates will have, the candidate forum follows a nonpartisan, unbiased, and impartial format delivered by a moderator. The questions are submitted by the public confidentially via email, and at the door this morning, we really didn't have anything set up. But if we have questions later, we can maybe get back to those. None of the candidates have access to the questions prior to the forum. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for opening remarks and introductions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question and 2 minutes for a closing statement towards the end of the forum. A timekeeper will hold up signs indicating when you have 15 seconds remaining and when you must stop. Okay, all candidates will rotate in order in which they respond to the question. We'll start on the end here with Ann, and then we'll move on. Next question, we'll start with Richard and so on. So that way everybody gets an equal chance of being first. Okay, we ask that everybody in the room now please silence their phones at this time, and we'll get started with questions. Okay, so first question, Dan. What is your view on the growth in the Village of Fredonia, and what do you think is the best way to handle that?
Growth on the Village of Fredonia. I think it's very important, and I like what has been done currently with developing the industrial area. I think we only have one main lot left to sell. And then the program, I basically, in a nutshell, I think we're on the right path. We have we're working with the developers to give credits to encourage home building. So I'm new to all of this, so I may not have an in-depth knowledge as the others may have, but that's how I see it currently. a good path, good start.
Thank you. Richard?
When I first ran back in 2018, two of my initiatives were focused on growth. Commercial growth as well as residential growth. The commercial growth is well underway with the industrial park, and I'm proud to have been part of that from the very beginning, from the time Don Dorwart drew up the plan, and we had many heated discussions and tough decisions, but it's looking pretty successful so far. As Ann said, we have one lot left. So next focus is going to be more on residential. We've got a little bit of growth going on there. We have some houses going up in the Emerald Hills subdivision and a couple elsewhere as well. But we want to really get that going because they really go hand in hand. And growth is really important in order to maintain the level of services that we do, police, fire, DPW, all that, and without having to raise the taxes. We'd rather grow the tax base than grow the taxes. So in order to maintain or even improve the services, I think growth is essential to this village.
Very good, thank you. Jessica?
As Rick said, we are definitely looking forward, growth in the village is definitely a priority of mine as well. I came in 2 years ago when we were just kind of establishing the TID, the industrial park down there. We were trying to make sure that it worked. That it got all of the locations sold and to increase our tax base, as Rick was talking about. We currently only have the 1 unit left, and we have a very diligent realtor actually reaching out to all of these different companies to hopefully bring in something into Fredonia. As for residential, we have made great strides over the last couple of years working with Hillcrest and actually getting them to respond so that we can actually start building out all of the Emerald Hills, which is great. We are also on top of the area down on the south side of the town where we had a EPA issue that we're constantly monitoring so that we can actually get approval from the DNR to actually build down there. And we are actively searching for new opportunities for both residential and commercial property here in the village. And as Ann mentioned, the Fredonia First, the $5,000 credit is a great first start just to encourage people to come and build here.
Great. Okay, Eric?
Yeah, so my position on growth, I think it's a necessity in terms of growing our community, both residential and industrial. So being pretty closely tied to some of the events going on in town, I often find myself looking at social media platforms to see what the citizens are complaining about and some of the things that they wish to see different within the village. One of the biggest things that I see is our complaints around tax rates and things like that. In order to lower the cost, we're under a budget right now on what we can spend, and if we're going to be lowering costs and improving things like our parks and anything within the community, that's going to require some more revenue base. And to get there, growth is a necessity to that. Targeted growth in the industrial park, I think, is a wise approach to go about this. But also, as Rich said, residential growth is also critical to this. So the more we expand upon a population, the more revenue we can take in a village and explore means for other investments, such as public safety improvements within our parks, like I discussed. So yeah, I'm a very firm advocate of growth.
Great, thank you very much. And if anybody needs a question repeated, just feel free to ask it anytime, that's fine.
And can I just ask, Ann, can you lower your microphone?
Yeah.
Towards your face. I think everybody else is doing it. I just want to make sure you get heard.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, our second question on village growth. After over a decade of planning, the village is beginning to implement upgrades to the wastewater treatment plant. How should these priorities be considered when balancing sewer rates and maintenance needs?
Well, unfortunately, the DNR likes to impose new requirements on our wastewater treatment as well as other systems. Our DPW crew and their leadership has done a great job of maintaining it and kind of limping along as much as they could. But with failures that we've had in the system, such as the clarifier failure a couple years ago, where we had to dump some money in just to put a Band-Aid on it. It's time to put some serious improvements in, not only to make sure that we can provide that quality of water and maintain the DNR standards, but we also have to take a measured approach and not go all in with all the bells and whistles, and maybe spread it out as much as we can. In order so we don't have to raise the rates at a crazy rate as much as we can. I see a lot of communities nearby that are raising rates. I think Hartford just had about a 75%-ish. I know Port had, was it 50 or 60? It was pretty high. So we don't want to do that. We hate to do that. So we're trying not to do that to our people. So I mean, it's important to keep costs as level as possible.
Thank you, Jessica.
The sewer treatment plant has been a topic of conversation, as you stated, for the last decade. The current upgrade that we are looking at is upgrading from originally built 40 years ago. So it was designed to actually last 20 years. So I think it's pretty good that we got doubled the amount of time out of that system. But as Eric referenced, we are essentially bleeding money on repairs, and the DPW crew has done a great job of ensuring that they jump on things as quickly as possible, but at the same time, we don't have any replacements. These items that they are fixing, they are fabricating. They can't just go out and buy a part and replace it. They have to fabricate it, which includes man hours and wasted time. We also have concerns with the DNR. They are closely monitoring everything that we do, and we are currently maintaining it. But at the same time, we also do not want them to take a step in and force the issue, which is why over the last couple of years, we have been trying to do a gradual increase in our rates. And we are all village residents. We are all getting hit with the same increases. We also made sure that we were looking at surrounding communities. And after Administrator Jenkins' research into all the surrounding communities, we are still one of the lowest rates, even if we did do the initial rate that we were talking about. We are still lower than all of these other communities. And back to your question of growth, I'm worried that if we do grow this community, our sewer system will not be able to take care of it.
Okay, Eric?
Yeah, so I think compliance with DNR regulations is a non-negotiable, and we have to do whatever it takes to be compliant with the law. That being said, nobody likes to see a drastic increase on their water sewage rate, and I understand that. I think we take this as a lesson for future processes. Moving forward, are there some kind of solutions we can put into place, regular audits, regular process audits, that kind of thing, where we can identify a problem before it becomes a sort of a bigger issue. As I said before, my position on growth within the community, I believe that increased revenue streams coming in the community can offset some of the rate increases that we'll see in the future. So my position on this obviously is to be compliant with the law, but at the same time, what can we do in the future to avoid these kind of large costs all at once?
Great, thank you. Ann?
Wastewater treatment plant. That thing was built when I was in middle school, I believe. And so it's old, it needs improvements. Especially if we're gonna try and get another 40 to 50 years out of it. I'm not 100% up to speed where we're at with it. And this is a big ticket item, I believe, so, thankfully, it's not being rebuilt from scratch. It desperately does need updating, and I think right now the nickel and dime fixes that have been happening lead to a slow financial death for our community. So it's important to update, the sewer plant. Compared to the surrounding communities, we do have low rates, and I think, we're currently doing a good job to keep those down. I don't want my rates to increase drastically. So, it's important to control the costs. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a matter of balancing function and controlling cost, and in a nutshell.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Good answers. And dovetailing off of the village growth, we'll get back to kind of our first question. This falls under the category of housing with a couple of questions. Housing is critical to ensure a thriving community and a growing tax base and a growing workforce as well. How do you think the village can address these needs, specifically to housing? And this will go to Jessica.
Can you repeat that again?
Okay, housing is critical to ensure a thriving community, a growing tax base, and a growing workforce. How do you think the village can address these needs? How can you attract more housing?
Well, one step that we did take a few months ago was actually the Fredonia First, which is offsetting the fees involved with inspections to first time for people who are building in Fredonia, because we worked with we made sure that we ensured that it was going directly to the home buyer. So it was not going to be an offset for the builder. It was not going to benefit them. We wanted it to actually benefit the actual home buyer. We are also actively working with several different locations like the Hillcrest up in Emerald Hills. We have been diligent about working with them to try to get them to complete what we needed to have or their initial plans. So we've been taking steps, since I've been on the board, trying to get them. And now we actually have housing plans submitted, and we're actually building houses up there. Again, with the community down on the area in the south, we are diligent in reaching out to the DNR and the property owner to ensure that it's safe to build. And as soon as we are actually get the approval from them, we are going to be going out and trying to get a builder to come in and build those houses out there. We are also actively looking at different areas. We had a small discussion about a potential area on Monday, or no, not on Monday, but on Thursday at the regular board meeting about a potential purchase for more additional residential homes. So, and we're also looking at types of residential homes. We want to make sure that we are offering it for first-time home buyers at a lower, or, homes that they can actually afford to buy from us.
Okay. All right, thank you. Hey, Eric.
Yeah, so there's no more critical time to have this discussion than right now. We have a new data center being built miles from our town with the potential of hundreds of new residents moving into the city. So with that in mind, residential expansion, absolutely. Not only single family homes, but also look at multifamily structures like apartment complexes and condominiums. I think we absolutely need to do what it takes to attract these potential home buyers into our community. That's the thing that's going to drive increased revenue streams that I talked about before. With that in mind, we have to do this smart and we have to do this wise. So I like the incentives that we're offering to potentially bring in some home buyers. What other things can we do to attract more people to move to the village of Fredonia. I think anything needs to be on the table. A review of our mill rate, a review of other tax rates that, or any kind of incentives that we can make this village attractive to potential buyers. So now is a critical time to have this discussion. And I think with the current board of trustees for the village and the future one, I really think this needs to be a strategic priority for us.
Great, thank you, Rick. Hey, Ann?
Okay, so how do we address the housing needs? Like Jessica mentioned, the $5,000 Fredonia First credit helps. And continuing to work with the builders to encourage growth. Most importantly to me, I think, is we need to make this community desirable so that people want to move here. So things like the splash pad and our park system, strong sense of community. In order to encourage growth, people have to want to live here. So I think that is.
All right, Richard?
So yeah, the perils of being the last one, all of it, once we change. So, but I'm in agreement with most everybody on here. Growth is imperative. As I said in the first question, that's been one of my initiatives since the beginning, and residential is the next target. We've already got a good start on it. We have some plans, as have been mentioned. We've been working with the developer that owns a large portion of land on the north side of town, trying to get things going for him to move. There are some issues based on our past developers created that we're trying to work through. And historically, over the past 8 or so years, we've had about 3 to 6% growth as far as value change of the village, which can be somewhat of an indicator of housing growth. But we need to do more because as candidate Stoll mentioned, there are some opportunities approaching with new businesses going up. Not only in our industrial park, there'll be some job growth there, and which will need people to work, as well as the nearby developments such as the data center and others. So yeah, it's definitely a high priority for Fredonia. As Ann mentioned, making it better, making it more attractive is also important. That's why we went forward with the splash pad and the Marie Krause revamping. So, and there's other things in the plans, and I'm almost out of time, so I can't go into that.
All right, well, thank you very much. So our last question on housing, I think we pretty much touched on everything we have here, but we have kind of blend the next two here, but do you support requiring, this will go to Eric to start. Do you support requiring affordable or workforce housing units from residential developers in exchange for zoning variances and tax credits? So on this, workforce development and workforce housing is a very popular thing lately. And there's programs in countywide incentives to develop those types of homes. I guess you call them starter homes, but are you in favor of affordable or workforce housing units in exchange, or requiring developers to supply these in their developments instead of some of these subdivisions that people just can't afford? A lot of these houses that you want to attract, like Eric had said before, you want to attract some of these workers that are coming in now. So would you support requiring these types of homes in certain developments for tax credits and the zoning variances?
I wouldn't be in favor of requiring it, but I would be in favor of taking a hard look at it. This is definitely one of the topics I think that we'd have to do a voice of voice of customers, what I call it in the world of business. But I'd like to hear what the overall community's take on this stance is. I'm not really a favor of requiring housing of any form in a community. other than allowing either the free market or capitalism to drive that type of growth. If there's a need, I think it would materialize, but to really force an issue like this among our community, I think we need to do a voice of customer to understand what the community thinks.
Okay. All right. Dan?
I agree 100% with Eric that forcing, or requiring this, is not a good idea, but encouraging it is. This is near and dear to my heart because I have two sons who are currently looking to buy houses and they can't afford anything that's out there. Nobody's building, modest ranch homes anymore, which is what I live in. And so if these more modest homes were available and affordable to first-time home buyers, I just think it would be a fabulous idea, so that way, future generations could afford housing instead of being priced out of it. So, yeah.
All right, Richard?
I mostly agree with what has been said so far. Government shouldn't be requiring anything of that sort. I'm not a realtor, I'm not a builder, I don't know the market as well as they do. They're in the business of making money. They're not in the business of helping the less fortunate or the less rich. So I want them to build something that's going to actually sell. If that is lower cost housing, that's great. I totally support that. But I don't want some spec homes to be built expecting lower income or whatever to buy it and then have it sit empty. So I want the professionals to make the decision and build what's actually going to work. Our administration has done a great job of working with Ozaki Economic Development and other resources around and trying to find the best way to encourage growth and bring the builders in here to help increase our housing developments.
Okay, great. Jessica?
Again, I am probably in agreement with most everybody here. I think we shouldn't be making it a requirement. As Rick said, we should not be stepping in as a government to require builders to build specific types of buildings. But I do think we need to encourage affordable housing because, as Ann said, there are a lot of people that are first-time home buyers and they are not able to actually buy a home. I remember when I bought my first home 30 years ago and how much I paid for it. It is a fraction of the cost of what we actually are selling houses for right now. When I bought my house here in Fredonia 25 years ago, it has over doubled in price. And I'm looking at what we make right now and how can actually anybody even afford to get a down payment for some of these houses. So I would like to strongly encourage more of a economical solution to ensure that people can come in and do their first time home purchase and take pride in their ownership and be able to move towards a secondary home later in the future, but giving them that ownership and that pride in establishing their position in the community.
Sure.
Exactly. I mean, it's a little bit difficult to describe, but home ownership is really important, I think, for a lot of people.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Glad you didn't ask me to repeat that.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to affordability. Inflation over the past few years has really affected the cost of living. I'm sure you've seen it in your own budgets at home, and the village is no different. Higher expenses for capital equipment, infrastructure projects, pay and benefits for employees, they're all going up substantially. What are your thoughts on how the village can keep those expenses in check? Again,
I guess similar to how we manage our own personal budgets. When costs go up for me, I trim a little here, trim a little there, I mean. I guess. Yeah, I kind of drawing a blank being the first one here.
okay,
So,
okay, all right, that's fine. Okay, Richard?
Yeah, inflation has definitely taken a chunk out of our pocketbooks, all across the board. And wages definitely have not kept up with inflation over the years. When we're faced with certain expenses, certain needs, we take a hard look at it. You know, we have about a 5-year plan for capital improvement processes, which is constantly reviewed and given a need versus want type basis. So we cut a lot of the wants out of the budget in order to maintain that budget and keep our costs down. But it also kind of goes into what we've been talking about most of this morning is the importance of growth. And that's the only other way to sustain this is to grow that tax base. So we have the more income so we can pay our workers better and retain them rather than have a revolving door and meet some of the costs of our needs. Like we have a looming fire truck purchase in the next few years. Those aren't cheap. So and that's just one example. I'm sure our DPW director could give you a whole list of expensive things that we need, but but you know, we're doing our best job to maintain them and get as much life out of our current equipment as possible as well. But when the cost of maintaining it outweighs the cost of replacing it, that's when we gotta take a look at it.
Okay, great. Okay, Jessica?
Piggybacking on what Rick has said, I know we are really taking a close look at all of our capital expenditures. And I know for the last couple of years, we have really been looking hard at everything that our DPW crew has needed, et cetera, and looking at alternate ways of, is there something that we can purchase as a used vehicle, or is it something that we can, can we replace 2 vehicles with 1 vehicle that's been modified to do 2 different actions? So we've been very good about looking at all of that, and I know our crew is also great about trying to get as much money as possible about resale value as well. So we are looking at all of these different options of looking at all of these different ways to try to ensure that we're still able to meet our residents' needs with the services that we need to provide them, but then also that we're trying to follow the plan. And sometimes emergencies do come up, and then we have to change the plan. And so what we currently are looking at, like he said, we're looking at a new fire truck, and that is not cheap. So our team, our administrator and clerk and treasurer are looking at different options of how can we pay for that. They're looking at different grant options and different other opportunities to help subsidize our purchase. So we are looking outside the box to try to ensure that we're not passing that on to our residents and maintaining their cost of, yeah.
Good. All right, great. Okay, Eric?
Yeah, so if I could, I'll give a little bit of background on my 9-to-5 profession. So I work in the world of supply chain, and in this world, I have a lot of history in terms of continuous improvement. I went after my Green Belt Six Sigma certification. I've led multiple Kaizen events, so continuous improvement is definitely near and dear to me. Looking at inflation in general as a topic, there's really only a couple ways that you can offset that. One is increased revenue streams. I think all four of us at the table have expressed our opinions on growth for the village. In terms of getting in more revenue, the other way to do that is cost control. So what can you do to reduce your costs? I think this is where we can play in the world of offsetting some of the inflation concerns. Jessica mentioned we do have like emergency situations that propose themselves that we haven't planned for. We had recently seen one of our snow removal trucks have some issues that we have to invest in. When we come across these situations, I think from a process perspective, we should be looking at implementing something beyond what one option could propose. I think we need to come to the table with multiple options so the board can review what is the best option in terms of cost control and quality of the investment. I think we need to be a little bit more wiser in understanding what other options are out there. Often the first option is not the best option. So as we look at options for reducing costs, I think we definitely have to apply a continuous improvement hat on to look at, is this really the most cost-effective strategy or investment for us to look at? And with that being said, my time's
Okay. All right, well, thank you, Eric. Okay, the next question is on affordability as well. This one goes to Richard. The village of Fredonia maintains the only fully staffed municipal fire department in northern Ozaukee County. While endeavors like the recent joint paramedic program have helped build collaboration, recent studies have shown that the region remains equipment heavy but volunteer light. So how else do you think the village can encourage emergency response and sharing services?
It's a very good question that we've been pondering for several years now with, and it's not just the village of Fredonia, it's not just Belgium, it's across the state and probably the nation. I know we've only looked at the state. Volunteerism is declining severely. We have a small program in place, the state does, to encourage people to volunteer and stay on. It's kind of a small little pension plan. What used to be called LOSA, I forget what we call it now. But it's basically, if you stay on for a certain amount of years, we contribute a certain amount, kind of like a 401k, and as you reach a certain age, you can draw from it. That may have had some effect keeping our current volunteers, but I don't know that it's encouraged a whole lot of more volunteerism. I really don't have the silver bullet answer to understand why people aren't volunteering more. I think some of the education requirements might be a deterrent. The requirements and costs of the training and the time required for the training is really a huge deterrent. I know that. We keep adding more and more time requirements away from their family to attend these classes, and they're volunteers. They're not getting a huge salary for that time. So if we could somehow work with the organizations and revamp the requirements, bring the time requirements down, that may help. But otherwise, yeah, I don't really know the good answer. I'd love to hear input from anybody to help solve that critical problem.
Yeah, great, thank you. Hey, Jessica.
We recently were involved in a study. I think I don't remember how we got into that study about equipment. And I know I think we have a meeting coming up. Am I right?
Can't answer you right now.
Okay, yes. Well, we have a meeting coming up where we are looking at equipment heavy versus volunteers and stuff. And I know this is a concern in our community, and we are trying to address it and look at different options of maybe sharing some different equipments, or like, do we fully need a new fire truck? Can we look at a different size? Can we have cooperation between several other different departments? But as Rick said, we are also declining on volunteers, and I don't know how we can get more volunteers other than maybe doing more social media or doing more, what can we do to incentivize people to actually come in and volunteer so that we can still maintain the level of the quality of service that we are currently providing to our residents and the surrounding areas. So
Okay.
we're actively looking at it and we're trying to come up with a solution so we can still maintain that level of service.
Great, great, thank you, that's good. Hey, Eric?
Okay, so hear me out on this. I'm a firm believer, and I think there's data that supports this statement, but I think faith is on the rise, not only, across the country, but within our community. And if I look at the values of this community, I think faith is definitely central to that. And one of the pillars to faith is charity, is giving back to others, giving back to the community, just giving back in general. I think we have it in our hearts to volunteer here. I think we just need to modify our approach to appeal to the people to really want to do this. So I think there's several platforms we can do that. One, I think, is just the understanding that charity doesn't just mean financial resources. Charity means giving your time. So giving your time back to the community is a form of serving, and we are a servant community. So I think leveraging social media platforms, I know we have two wonderful people who do a good job of promoting several aspects of the village, and Christoph and Michelle. I see a lot of work coming from them. But even as members of this board, what can we do to reach out to the community ourselves? And I think there's definitely room to appeal with the right message that volunteerism can not only help you in terms of the virtues of your faith, but also in terms of your career path. A lot of employers like to see these kind of things in people, self-initiative, the willingness to want to help others. Like I said, I think it's there. I think it's within our hearts. I just think we need to do something different in order to appeal to others and promote the value of volunteerism, as well as what it can teach you in terms of even the workforce. How can you apply it to your everyday job? So I think it's there. I think we just need to modify kind of our approach to appeal others to do it.
Okay, great, thank you very much. Hey, Pam?
Yeah, there is, quite a challenge with getting people to volunteer these days. I heard it been said that 20% of the people do 80% of the work when it comes to volunteering. And also many hands make work light, I think is the old adage. And as far as encouraging volunteers, I think that might have to start, at a young level, encouraging the youth in the high school so that as they grow older, volunteering becomes a part of people's lives. That being said, how do we address the current issue? Like Rick said, that it's challenging. I'm open to other people's ideas as well. That's a tough one. I do like Eric's answer as well. Volunteerism looks great on a resume, and so that might be something to encourage people as well. But yeah, that's a tough problem to solve.
Yeah, great, thank you very much. Okay, our next question will go to Jessica to start. We have some general questions now. What do you see as the main priorities facing the village in the next 5 to 10 years? And what do you feel is the number one most pressing issue in the village today?
Okay, repeat that first part again.
Okay, what do you see as the main priorities facing the village in the next 5 to 10 years? And what do you feel is the number one pressing issue in the village?
Well, let's see. I think one of our main issues right now is really focused on growth and ensuring that we are increasing the tax base so that we can actually afford to do some of these different things that we have planned for the future. A secondary thing is looking at I know we have done a great job of revamping our finances and ensuring that we have a slush fund, a rainy day fund, and we are trying to lower our debt appropriately, but at the same time, ensure that we are being focused on spending wisely and that's a hard question to fully answer. Repeat it again? I'm sorry.
Sure, no, that's no problem. Yeah, it's a lot to think about. What do you see as the main priorities facing the village in the next 5 to 10 years? And what do you feel is the number one most pressing issue in the village?
Well, like I said, the main priority right now, in my personal opinion, is working on the sewer treatment plant, the wastewater
Okay.
plant, because that is definitely something that has been discussed for the last 10 years. And as we discussed earlier, the inflation is only getting higher. So if this had been done 10 years ago, the cost would have been much lower than it is currently right now. So I am afraid that it's not going to go down. It's going to continue to increase. And so we really need to get focused on that. Otherwise, it's continuing our growth and our ensuring that we have a wonderful community that we want to encourage people to come, businesses and residential.
Okay, great, thank you. Hey, Gareth?
Yeah, so understanding that one of the hottest topics among the community right now has to do with the water and sewage rates. It is what it is. We're going to be seeing some increases through, to my understanding, even through 2027. And we know that that's a hot issue with the community. The absolute top priority, I think, is cost control. So when we're talking about growing our residential community, as well as industrial, that is obviously going to help us in terms of increasing our revenue. But as a village, I think as a board, we can do an in-depth review of where our costs lie and really put on a head of continuous improvement on what areas can we slash, what areas can we cut back on. I think budgeting is a key part of that. So as we're looking at things like a 5-year strategy plan for the village, we can take things into consideration as to realistic growth expectations by year. And when we have that in front of us, we can start to develop a 5 to 10-year cost plan as well. So I think getting that in front of us so we can proactively take measures to either reduce current costs or potential future costs by looking at multiple options as a board and voting on it with the multiple options in mind on what we think by line makes the most sense for our community. I think that's going to lead to better cost control. There's other things we can take into consideration in terms of types of exercises like Kaizen events or something like that, where we can pull in some additional help to help us review this. But I'm a firm believer that if we continue to look at where our costs lie, what our potential options are, and looking at it, those additional options where we could maybe save a dollar or two by line, I think ultimately that's going to get us where we stop. So.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, yeah.
Okay, my main priorities are to encourage growth, to help control taxes. The water treatment plant, we're seeing and controlling the costs on that. To save for future financial issues that the community may see. And my number one is I'm looking to retire within 5 to 10 years. And so addressing inflation and saving costs for residents is my number one.
Okay, great, thank you. Richard?
So many issues. It's hard to place number one on it, but I think one of the main priorities found in a nutshell, and I think I mentioned it earlier too, is to at least maintain the current level of services without digging into our taxpayers' wallets too much to do that. If we can if we can improve them, that'd be even better. We need to control our costs, have a plan. Our administrator and his team has done a great job in the last few years of seeking out grants and other sources of funding that don't increase the mill rate. So, he has definitely, earned his value just in the money that he has brought into the village. I'm pretty sure it outweighs what we have paid him so far. So we need to continue that's one of his goals. Growth issues is gonna be another thing. Growth is important, but along with it comes some issues. Our police force currently is a part-time police force. Do we need to grow that? Do we need to increase the hours? Do we need to go full-time? Those are things that we're gonna have to look at as we grow more and more. And then finally, one of the things that I've been frustrated with in my time on the board is we've had to deal with decisions, issues, lack of planning from long previous boards that didn't want to raise the sewer rate at all. So we went a long time without raising the sewer rate. Now we have to be the bad guys and raise it a lot. I don't want to, we don't like it, but we do it. So I want to try to prevent that for the future boards, and so they don't have to make the hard decision. So long-term plan, that's a high priority.
Great, good. Okay, move on to Eric for the next question. In your opinion, what is the number one job of the village trustee? And what skills do you have that would be beneficial in your role as a village trustee?
Yeah, so it's elected position, so the number one priority is to be reflective of the community that elected you into your position. I think that you're elected, although your opinions may not coincide 100% with those who elected you, they elected you into the position to stick to your values. So I truly believe that as a village trustee, you're publicly being a representative of your constituents, and we need to act the part. But at the same time, you're elected because of who you are. The village liked who you are and put you in that position. So vote in a way that's true to your values. Don't jeopardize your values, but vote in a way that got you to where you are. Can you repeat the second part of that question?
Oh, sure. What skills do you have that you think would be beneficial as your role as a village trustee?
Yeah, so I have been in the world of supply chain for a very long time. And a lot of the principles, I think, and how you operate a business in terms of cost control within the world of business can be applicable to how to run a town or a village as well. In this role, one of the things that was very near and dear to me was taking something called the Strength Finders, and it's an assessment provided by Clifton, and what it does is it really outlines what your top skills are. So when you ask me what skills I bring to the table, first and foremost, I'm a relator. That's a interpersonal type of skill that I'm able to leverage empathy and really listen to those who I'm working with. And within that skill, the thing I really wanted to bring out was that element of proactive listening and being empathetic to those that you're talking with. So hearing what somebody is actually saying and understanding it, I think are two separate things. One of the skills I'll bring to the table is to understand what I'm hearing. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Andrew. Sure. In your opinion, what is the number one job of a village trustee? And what skills do you have that would be beneficial in your role as a village trustee?
As you guys may have noticed, I'm short, I like short and sweet answers. And so the number one job of the village trustee is to see to the best interests of the residents. As far as what I would bring to that, I have 24 years of experience in both designing and overseeing the construction of large mining projects with budgets, in the millions and tens of millions. And most recently, I have 7 years of experience as a construction project manager in the industrial sector. I think this experience gives me a strong foundation in engineering, problem solving, and project execution. I think that would really help benefit the community.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, Richard.
Number one job of a village trustee is to represent the people. Does that mean doing exactly what everybody tells you to do, every village resident tells you to do? That's impossible, because everybody has a different view. That's what's great about sitting up here. I'm one of 7. We can discuss, we all have different views, we can have a civilized debate and come up with what we believe as a group, as a whole, is the best thing to do for the whole of the village. So, we're 7 equals sitting up here and deciding what we decide, what we feel is the best interest of the village to keep it going, to keep it safe, and keep it moving forward. Skills that I bring to the table. I've held several leadership positions, both in my military career and in my civilian career. So I can provide a certain level of leadership, whether it be leading the committee, stepping in as president pro tem when the president isn't available, or any other such thing where I can apply. I have a strong technical background. I've been in the engineering world for about 22 years. So I can bring that aspect to the table. I've made several technological improvements that help things move along here and save money. A level-headed approach where I can absorb the information and make a solid, sound decision. But overall, what I bring to the table is a strong sense of service to the community and a high level of integrity.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, Jessica.
What I bring, or what I believe a trustee should do is, number one, as everybody here has stated, is be a voice of the residents. I also am a firm believer of leaving things better than what they started. So I believe that the trustees' positions here are actually to look forward for the community and ensure that future trustees and future residents have a strong understanding of the good that we did for the community as a whole. As for my personal background, that I think that it can be assistant for this, I have 3 different degrees: industrial technology, accounting, and management. I'm in the construction project management role as well. And I have been in various positions within the community besides this trustee role. I started off in the Architectural Control Board 6 years ago, something like right around there. I was also on the Planning Commission Board of looking at the future of the village itself, looking at different aspects. I have also been a chief election inspector of here in the village. So I think my personal experience with the village for the last 6 or so years, plus my personal background of education and employment, will help make whatever I do here better for the future of the village.
Great, thank you very much. So our next question will go to Ann to start with. Other than being an elected official or candidate, how have you been involved in the community?
I was on Board of Appeals for 3 years, I believe. And I am currently on the planning commission.
Okay. Richard?
Obviously, being a trustee has been my biggest part of the service to this community, but I try to I have 4 kids. One was an adult and off in the world, but the others are still in the Zaki School District. So I try to participate in a lot of their activities. Step in and I don't volunteer as much for the concession stand as I probably should. But I have other things going on. But also I try to step in and help with some of the events that we have here. I've been the face and the voice of the Madonia Mud Run every year since its inception. And that is a total blast. I love interacting with the kids and having fun with them. So yeah, just being part of the community and helping out in any way that I possibly can.
Okay, great. Thank you. Jessica?
As I said, I was recruited by our previous village trustee, Don Dorwerts, for the architectural board. I want to say it's been at least 6 years ago, maybe it's even close to 7. So he pulled me into the world of the village. He knocked on my door, and I think it was one of the best people I ever answered the door to was Don coming up and asking if I would be interested in doing something like this for the community. I've also, like I said, I volunteered to be on the planning commission for one of the previous directors to look at where we wanted to take the village and what we needed to do for a long-term growth plan of the village. And we had several lively discussions about that. And like I said, I've also been, I was at first an inspector, and then I've been a chief inspector for the last several years of our election process to ensure that we are providing appropriate basically an appropriate space for our residents to come and execute their constitutional right to vote in every single election. So.
Thank you. Eric?
Yeah, so I'm a active member of our Divine Savior Parish here in town, and through church I try to get active in any way that I can. One of which we do a Wednesday men's group that I'm very fond of. We're promoting ideologies on how we can step up and keep family as the center of our lives. In addition to that, I've done a lot of volunteer work through organizations like Big Brothers Big Sisters, volunteer time with the United Way, Feed My Starving Children, organizations like that where I can give back by giving my time. Time is definitely, as I said before, with the volunteer effort to push more towards the fire department, things like that. I'm a big advocate of giving up time. It's definitely a way that we can give back to the community. It's something that serving in terms of volunteerism is something I'm very passionate about and will continue to keep it a top priority.
Great, thank you very much. Now we've touched on this a little bit with some of the answers from previous questions, but just to be a little more specific, this one will go to Richard to start. There are times when roles of the governing body are in opposition to one another. For example, residents may be asking the board to vote in a particular way on an issue because of how that decision impacts them at the moment. But as a trustee, you must consider the long-term implications and perhaps make a different decision. How do you reconcile these conflicting roles?
That's one of the toughest parts about this job, honestly, because usually the people that show up to the meetings and voice their opinions are usually the ones that are in opposition. So we rarely hear the other side. So I try to actively listen, whether it be via personal conversations or social media or other opportunities to listen to all sides and get all the information. And on a particular subject. Also, like I said before, that's why there's 7 of us sitting up here. So I'm not the only one listening to the community. Ann is listening to the community, assuming she's sitting up here. Jessica, whoever's sitting here, they all have their input. So we bring it all to the table. We have some rather lively discussions sometimes. And we're not always on. But that's what we do, is find the right mix of, or find the best decision, with that mixture of opinions. And do what we think is gonna be right for the long-term, good of the community.
Great, thank you. Jessica?
And again, as Rick did say, we are one of seven. And we all have different connections to the community, and we are all hearing different versions, whether it's through social media or our personal connections within the village. And we are one of seven people up here. And as Rick said, some discussions can get extremely lively. But I think the strong point is that we are all willing to listen to one another and hear and understand what they are saying. And I've been in several situations where a topic of conversation has come up on our village board, but that everything I've heard and everything that I believe was one way. But being prompted by other members of the board in different discussions, it helped me see different viewpoints and ensure that what we are doing as a whole is what's best for the community. And that's why there are seven of us up here. That's why there are seven of us with equal votes and equal voices, to ensure that we are covering all aspects of the community and doing what is best for both our community and our residents for growth and stability.
Great, thank you. Eric?
So I touched on this in one of my previous answers, but I'm going to reiterate what I said. We will never, any one of us are never going to be 100% compliant with the views of our constituents. We're going to be elected, whoever wins is elected because our constituents saw something valuable in who we are as individuals. So we need to stick to who we are, and we need to vote in a way that's consistent with the way with what our values are. So I think what's most critical for us is, as a candidate, to do our research on all of the topics that we're going to vote on, to understand why we're going to vote in a way we're going to vote. I think we need to take that approach on every single issue that's brought to us. We have to understand what other options are available. How does it reflect our values that we were elected to portray? I am a firm believer of that. So how I reconcile those differences is the fact that whoever is elected into this role was elected because of the person you are and the values you hold. And we need to stick to those and research all of the issues that are brought to us, so we have a thorough understanding of what it is that we're voting on. That understanding is going to coincide with how we vote, and then we can defend our positions. We can say we voted against because it conflicted with this value or that value. So I think that's the most critical thing, and I think that's a priority among every member of the board, to thoroughly research every topic that we're going to vote on.
Okay, great, thank you. Pam?
Like Rick and Jessica said, this is why we have seven trustees. There's wisdom in many of the cases. Just like in business, you have to make decisions that are tough, or in family matters, you decide things that may make people unhappy. It's tough to agree 100% with anybody. I don't think that's possible. All you can do is take the info that you have and make the best decision.
Yeah, great, thank you very much. Okay, this one will go to Jessica. And I just made it up, so I'm trying to read my writing. Social media, we've touched on that in several of the answers, and it's pretty prevalent today, obviously, in everybody's aspect of life. But social media can be a valuable tool, can also end a career. How do you, or how will you handle social media conversations as a board member? Everybody sees them as you're going through Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Do you jump in? Do you stay away? How do you handle these situations? Because there's a lot of misinformation that goes. with that
Yes,
kind of
and
work.
that's where my problem is with social media is that there is an extreme amount of misinformation going around. I also feel that sometimes social media, my husband's favorite version is he likes to call himself a troll hunter because he does not like when people start spouting things that they don't know anything about and that they are purposely fueling the fire just because they can. And that's what I think the main issue with social media is. I don't actually actively participate in much social media. I do scroll a little bit, but at the same time, it's not part of my daily influx of information. I take everything that I see on social media with a grain of salt, and also I don't think so I don't actually respond to a lot of it because I don't want to be one of those people that fuels the fire. Because as we all know, there are a lot of people that have very strong opinions. And they have a platform and they are getting support because of what they're saying. And it could be right, it could be wrong, and it could be misinformation. And oftentimes they're spreading hate, and I don't like seeing the hate being spread. I'd rather. So, yeah, no, I don't really encourage it.
Great, thank you. Hey, Eric.
So I think social media is what you make out of it. I think your intentions, you'll get out whatever your intention is, good or bad. We have to be careful with it though. It's a statement of record. It's documentation coming from yourself. And if you're going to say something that conflicts with your values, you are going to be held to account by it. I've also seen social media as a very positive aspect. We had a catastrophe in our community with Miriam's Bakery, one of a critical business to our community. And what I saw from this community through social media was nothing short of a miracle and beautiful. I saw a community rally behind Miriam, willingly give up financial resources to the tune of almost $30,000 to help with this situation. It's a very powerful tool, and it's a way that we can reach our community if we use it wisely and strategically. I don't think it's going away. So I see kind of a pathway for opportunity to use it in a positive light. When we're talking about things like volunteerism, if you want to connect with more people, you're going to connect with people faster in a wider audience through use of social media than going door to door or placing phone calls. That's just the ease of it. So I really think it can be a good tool to use if we use it wisely and strategically. Again, it goes back to the individual though. What you write and what you say, you will be held account to. And it's a statement of record. So double check what you're writing, make sure it aligns with your values, but I am an advocate that we can use it for the good.
Good, thank you. Yeah,
I think the village has done a wonderful job with social media, by giving updates and what's going on, with our government. So as far as what would I do, I think they handle it so well, that there's no need on my part, if I were to become a trustee, to expand on that. That being said, there are some community groups that there is misinformation spread and what have you. And so many times I've typed up a big long response and in the end, I end up deleting my comments. I got it off my chest and it's just better to abstain in those sort of situations. But all in all, I think Chris and his crew is doing a great job.
great. All right, thank you, Ed. Richard.
Social media, as has been said, it can be a savior or the devil. It can go either way. We try to use it in a positive, light from a village standpoint to bring the community together, community events, advertise our events, whether it be Fun Before the Fourth, Madonia Mud Run, the, music in the park. We try to use social media for good that way. In general, on a personal level, I try to stay out of large debates overall. However, I have been the direct target of some of these trolls that Jessica's husband likes to hunt. So I'm almost forced to respond to counteract and bring some facts to the lies and the opinions or misinformation. But I always bring facts, verifiable facts. So, and if you come after my family, that's, it's also been one of those occasions where I had to engage. But overall, I try to stay out of the big things, and keep the opinion out of it completely. Just bring the facts. In the end, it really comes down to, similar to what Ann was alluding to. Think before you hit that send button.
Sure.
You can type it all up, but think about it, reread it. Let yourself cool down, think about it, and then either hit send or hit delete.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. All right, Richard, then you'll start this one. Or I'm sorry, Eric starts this one. Out of line here. Being on the village board requires a significant amount of commitment. 2, 4, 6 meetings a month, whatever, budget season, probably more. As well as reading all the material prior to the meeting, so you're familiar with the topics as they come up at the meeting. How will this fit into your other equipment? How does this fit into your other commitments and schedules?
Well, the big word you just used was commitment. So I think walking into this, I hope every candidate did a self-evaluation of the time requirements and whether or not that would be able to be fulfilled. I wouldn't be here if it was not the case that I am willing to put my name behind this commitment, understanding the time requirements for it. My goal is 100% attendance on everything. And again, I would not be putting my name behind this if I wasn't willing to sign up for that commitment. Now, how to reach those commitments? I think I'm going to use sort of a long acronym that I heard from a high school wrestling coach. He called it the 5 Ps: proper planning prevents poor performance. And I think just by getting this on our calendars, so something as simple as that, planning for it and dedicating an additional hour or 2 hours before the meeting to review all the agenda items on there and come, like I said before, come prepared and well-researched on the topics you're going to be voting on. By planning for that, we're going to be able to execute to that commitment. So I would not be here if I wasn't willing or able to give that type of time commitment. And I am. And so I'm here and I'm willing to commit.
Great, thank you very much. Ian?
Question.
Sure. Being on the village board requires significant time commitment, 2, 4, 6 meetings a month, as well as reading all the prep material prior to the meeting, so you're familiar with the agenda. How will this fit into your other commitments and your schedule?
Well, like Eric said, planning. My schedule isn't very involved right now, which is why I decided to, one of the reasons I decided to run for trustee. I need something to fill my time, so trying to find time in the evenings isn't a problem for me. Obviously, my job is a major commitment, but yeah, I've just been looking for something to get involved in, and this is it.
Okay. Great, thank you, Richard.
Let me start by saying I love Fredonia. It is a priority to me. I'm so proud of this village that we live in. But above that is my family. My family is my number one priority. So this being my fifth election, before I go out and get those signatures in December, I have a gathering, a meeting with my family and say, hey, do you want me to do this? Especially my wife, you know, my partner, my my teammate in life. I get their buy-in. Because we do have a crazy schedule. As I said, we've got 4 kids, 3 of them still at home. All involved in sports and activities, and band and choir, and you name it, just our schedule is full. But with the support of my family and the buy-in, I'm able to balance that commitment to the village and balance it out with work priorities as well. And, you know, do what's best for the people that have put me in this very seat. So it is quite a balancing act. It isn't always easy to find the time, but with the support of my family, I do.
Yeah, great, thank you.
And again, Rick said it first, but my family is my priority. I don't have quite the schedule that he has, as I only have one child, but they are my priority, and Fredonia is also in a lot of ways, it comes a close second because I do love Fredonia. I love the village here. I have been here for 24 years. I have enjoyed seeing what we have done as a community as a whole, especially in the last few years of the village board and what we have done to improve the community. So we make the time. I work with my family. I try to ensure that I have the time that I need, and I'm still balancing it with my need to support my family. So, yeah,
Okay.
it's not a problem. It hasn't been a problem for the last several years, and it's not going to be a problem in the future because we work together as a family, as Rick said.
Great, thank you. Okay, our next question, we'll go to Ann to start. What types of businesses do you think that would benefit the residents if they were to open up in the village? And how would you attract them?
What types of businesses would benefit? And how would I turn them? One thing I wish we had was, well, I mean, I guess we do now with Dollar General, but I wish we had a grocery store with fresh produce. What other kinds of, I don't foresee us attracting someone like that, the size we're currently at. So I won't expand on that. Other businesses. Now this one kind of caught me off guard. Manufacturing, we could use some more of that. I think we're, you know, currently trying to attract something like that, the current open lot. I'm gonna pass on this one because I kind of drawing a blank.
It's fine, it's fine. Thank you, Richard.
So listening to the community over the past few years, this topic has come up, and one of the biggest things that they're asking for is more dining options. We have Fredonia Family Restaurant, which is a big cornerstone in our community. And you know, we have, you know, we have McDonald's, and we have the local bars who serve great food. Jen's is a great place to grab a bite. But not everybody wants to take the kids to the bar. Not everybody, you know, I mean, so we're somewhat limited there. So that's what the community is asking. Maybe a sandwich shop, Jimmy John's or Subway or whatever. But really, we would benefit from a large mixture of businesses, whether it be boutique type shops, specialty shops, clothing or other hobby type stuff. But also a mixture of, industrial and, commercial buildings, such as the mix that we're getting in our industrial park right now. Really looking forward to Nine Ladies Dancing coming to town. That's gonna be a huge, huge thing for this community. So just a variety of businesses like that, I think is what we need here.
Great, thank you. Jessica?
I think, in my personal opinion, some sort of manufacturer built business would be ideal. Somebody that would come in and be able to offer employment to our residents, and have ease of commute, etc. Something that, like I said, would offer employment to our community. I also agree with maybe another dining option, whether it's a sandwich shop or a coffee shop or something like that. With the loss of Miriam's, that really kind of, we really hope that someday she can come back here to the village, because in the few years she's been here, she's become a cornerstone business within our community. And having a replacement for that, and having a few more dining options. We did, I know everybody talks about the grocery store, and I don't know if we would be actually sustainable for a grocery store at this moment. Dollar General has filled some of the gap. I worry about sustainability when it comes to some of these smaller stores, like Rick mentioned, like a clothing shop or etc. I really worry about the sustainability, because we all know that some of these smaller businesses do not have the financial wherewithal to sustain themselves. That's what made Dollar General attractive, because they had a larger corporation that they could actually maintain their prices and still be a part of our community. So.
Okay, thank you. Eric?
Not really here to say what kind of business I want, like I would put as a top priority to bring into the community. I think with the free market, I think we owe it to our constituents to approach any type of investment like that with an open mind. And I think we would need to vote on it. I think whatever business ideas are brought to us for approval from the board, we stick to what our values are. Now, if you ask my son this, which I talked about this like a week ago, he's in favor of bringing in a water park into Fredonia. There are many like types of things that we can invest in or look at that would draw more tourism to the area. But again, like I'm not in favor of saying yes or no right now. I think if there's business ideas that are going to bring jobs to the community and increase revenue, I think we need to approach it with an open mind and hear it out and vote on it. I think we just follow that course.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, we have our last set of questions. For Richard to start on this one. If elected, what would you like to change about how the village is run, if anything?
Well, I get a little bit different perspective on this than the other candidates up here, because this isn't my first time around, and or my second. We've done a lot of changing over the past 8 years. We've had some massive changes, whether it be how the village was run. We changed to a village administrator type of government versus strictly trustees. And that's been a huge game changer in itself. Things have run more smoothly when we have somebody that can be dedicated to the village 40 hours a week or more, versus us 9-to-5ers that work during the day and get what we can get done at night. So that's been a huge change. One other big change that I've noticed over the past 8 years has been the makeup of the board. the diversity of the board. We have men, we have women, we have old, we have young. Business owners, 9 to 5ers, we have a great mixture, college professor, doctorate level people, brains. So, I mean, we have a great mixture, whereas historically in the past. It. And Don would agree with this, so I'm not, insulting him. There was a bunch of old men out sitting up here, a bunch of old retired kids. So, and Don even made that comment that when I and Josh Haas came on the board, it really caused a shift in perspective, views, and initiative. So those are the kind of changes that I'd love to see.
Okay, great.
And,
All right, thank you. Okay, Jessica.
Repeat it again, please.
If elected, what would you like to change about how the village is run right now, if anything?
Well, as Rick said, we have made great strides in the change of what we've done over the last 2 to 4 years, bringing on Administrator Jenkins, clerk, or Michelle, our clerk, and Julie, our treasurer. I think having that fully formed team has done a great job in streamlining our finances and ensuring we are doing what we need to do to ensure the stability and the growth of the community. As Rick said, we are all working members of the community. We work our regular jobs and we have different viewpoints on everything, but we rely on our team, our director Paulus, our administrator, our clerk, and our treasurer to ensure that the day-to-day management of the community is moving us forward. And I would like to continue to see the improvements that, as I think we've talked about earlier, like the previous board was older members, retired long-term residents of the village. And we have definitely improved upon the actual more of a sampling of our community with our current board members. And I'd like to see that continue. And also keep up the great work with our team. So.
All right, great, thank you. Eric?
Yeah, so I think through these 2 hours, I think it's been pretty clear what I'm in favor of economic expansion and cost control. I've also shared my background in terms of supply chain continuous improvement. I'm very much a process guy, very, very much a process guy. So some of the changes I'd like to see implemented, I'll give an example, some tweaks to the process. So as we're looking at things like, I'm just drawing an example when our snow removal truck had some issues on it. I've seen a couple things like this. I think coming to the table with a mandated minimum number of options to at least propose to the board. So instead of coming to the table with, just one option or something to that extent, presenting 3 options or not closing the issue until we've heard a number of options that we can agree to as a board. There are some things in terms of process, in terms of how we're running our meetings and how we're voting on things like that, that I think those kind of changes, I think could result in something quick, a quick positive turnaround.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I've been amazed at the positive changes in recent years and how it's improved the community the board has. Also, having a village administrator has made the board's job so much easier. Like Jessica pointed out, or was it Rick? The board is currently made up of young and old, men, women, lots of backgrounds, feeding input into our community. The whole current structure, the fresh staff with new ideas and such. I don't think at this time that I would change anything unless things began to stay.
Great, thank you very much. Maybe we just have two more questions before closing statements. And this one's meant just to think out of the box, forget about the rules, forget about the norms. This goes to Jessica. Hypothetically, if Fredonia received a $1 million grant to use for the municipality in any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why?
Oh, $1 million. Well, there's two different options that I'm looking at, and one happens to be a capital expenditure and one happens to be an improvement on a utility. So we are, as we've made it very clear, we are struggling with different options to pay for some of our capital expenditures. On one hand, that $1 million would do great things for our new fire truck because that's approximately $1.5 million to offset the cost of that. It would also do great things for offsetting the cost of our utility. But what I think sometimes the residents have a hard time understanding is capital expenditures are directly paid by taxes. Our water and our sewer utilities are their own individual businesses. And I didn't realize that until I actually came on the board, but they are independent businesses now, the village runs. They do not actually, we're not out for profit, but we are out for ensuring that our costs are maintained and that we are covering the costs of running the actual business. So my sway would be actually towards the capital expenditure towards the fire truck, purely because that is actually directly affecting our taxes of our village. The water sewer treatment plant update is a utility and it is a business that needs to pay for itself. So they are two separate things. So
Okay, great.
the fire truck.
Thank you. Eric?
Yeah, there's a number of capital investments that we could look at using that $1 million for. But in this hypothetical situation, if I were presented with $1 million winning lottery ticket given to the village of Fredonia, I think first and foremost, I'd look at ways to incentivize different businesses to come into the village. So looking at more of our 5 to 10 year strategic plan on how we're going to grow, I'd look at ways that we can invest to attract some of those higher dollar businesses in our industrial park or wherever it may be. I'll cut my answer short. It would be an investment into looking at incentivizing businesses to come in.
Okay, great, thank you. Yes?
I would take care of the little things that have been building up, and have become outstanding over time, such as repair and replace equipment. I would take care of the little things that have been put to the side, and have been cut due to that.
Okay, Richard?
$1 million seems like a big number to an individual. I mean, it changed my life personally, but when you look at it at a community level, all the DPW activities, road repair, equipment upgrades, $1 million really doesn't go as far as a lot of people think. Yeah, our roads could use some more attention. We've been doing a good job of prioritizing certain roads and look at we do pacer studies, look at the ratings, and we prioritize the road repairs as well as we can. So yeah, $1 million would go a little ways towards that, but not as far as most people think. Looking at our equipment list and our replacement priorities coming up, we have trucks such as the fire truck. We're looking at a $1.9 million replacement So that $1 million doesn't even, gets us barely over halfway. So yeah, it could offset some of those costs, but it comes down to looking at the priorities, the current priorities, and the what's best for the village.
Okay.
What do we need? And maybe if there happen to be some left over, yeah, let's do some improvements to the parks or something nice, or to improve morale and community involvement as well.
Sure. Okay. Great, thank you very much. Steve, our closing question, before we get to the closing statements. What are the main points, and this goes to Eric to start. What are the main points you want voters to remember about you and your candidacy?
Well, I think it really goes back to our unique set of values. I would draw voters to that. It goes to the point that we wouldn't be elected to vote in a way that would reflect 100% of our constituents. We would be elected in a way that would vote that aligns with our values. I think that's one of the big things about me. The other thing, we talked a little bit about commitment, and we're all here because we're more than willing to commit our time that's required to do this job. We wouldn't be here if we weren't committed to that, and keep us accountable to that as well. I think we're all on the same page of Fredonia being a top priority for us. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't. So we're passionate about the community. We want to see it improve. We want to see it grow. And then sort of the last thing is, it kind of goes back to the makeup of the board. We all have unique values that make us who we are. And the decisions that we're going to make as a team, it's going to be a vote for majority. So our values personal values may not always align with the direction of the board, but as long as we vote in a way that's true to that, then I think we're upholding our responsibility that we're committing to the community.
Thank you. Yeah.
He did again.
Sure, yeah, no problem. What are the main points that you want voters to remember about you and your candidacy?
Main points. Well, I want people to know that the reason I'm here is I want to make a difference in our community. I saw that it appeared that nobody was stepping up to take the open position. And so I was willing, because I care about Fredonia. And things to know about my candidacy. I guess I just bring a lot of experience, whether it be managing projects, engineering, construction, and I just feel like that I make a difference in.
Great, thank you. Richard.
I think people need to know about me is that I'm obviously committed. I've been doing this for nearly 8 years. I'm trying to do it for at least 2 more. So I care about the community that I live in. I bring values to the table, such as family values, family-centric values, which I think is important to the community. Community is a bunch of families together overall. But the big thing, to sum it all up, is what I bring to the table is just an ability to evaluate different situations with different perspectives, with integrity and a solid sense of service to the community. That not necessarily is best for myself, but keep in mind that I, as well as everybody else up here, are residents of the community. We are village residents, and the decisions that we make affect us too. And I always keep that in the forefront, that, hey, our decisions affect the community and we want it to be the best for everyone out there. Awesome.
Great, thank you. Okay, Jessica.
Uh, mainly that I want everybody to understand that what my goal is to leave the community better than what it started at. I have been in this community for almost half my life. And there's a reason why I'm still in this community. I could have moved away at any given time, but Fredonia is a really wonderful place to live. It's a wonderful community to thrive in. We have an exceptional school system and we have enough of a small town community feel that I know my neighbors. I know multiple people from different aspects of the community. And just that they know that I'm trying to make this community better for everyone, not just myself. And understand that I can listen and hear and understand everybody's concerns because as everybody has stated multiple times, we are members of this community. So every decision that we make at this table is going to affect us. There's no getting around it. And understand that these decisions are not easy for us to make, but we have to look at the community as a whole and ensure that we are making the community stronger for the future and for our future generations versus the here and now. And I think, unfortunately, some of the previous boards were very focused on the here and now, and they were not focused on the future. And now it's getting to the point where we are actually focusing on the future, and it's created kind of a spotlight, unfortunately.
Sure. All right, thank you. Eric?
I think I
Oh,
think you already
oh, just, oh, I'm sorry, you started.
I can go again if you want.
I gotta go around again. We have time. Okay, so we're gonna start with Ann then for closing remarks. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to just wrap up.
And then that's it?
That's it. That's it. We're done.
Well, first I wanna tell everybody a little bit about myself. So, I've lived in Fredonia for a combined total of 40 years. I'm a proud Ozaki graduate, as are my 2 boys. I'm a widow. Many people probably remember my late husband, Joe Redmond, who was very active in the community as a football coach, snowmobile club, scouting, many other groups. And so I decided now is my time to become involved in the community like it once was. This is my home and I have a history here. I was encouraged many times by my former neighbor, Josh Haas, to run for village trustee, and well, finally, here I am. I'm running for village trustee because I want to use my construction experience and strong sense of financial responsibility to help make our village, help our village make smart, thoughtful decisions. My background, I feel, gives me a practical understanding of infrastructure needs and how to realistically evaluate projects and costs. I personally have been debt-free since 2012, which reflects the importance I place on careful budgeting, accountability. I also value my neighbors and especially those who are on fixed income or are facing financial challenges. And so I believe village board decisions must be made with care and respect to those most affected. Our village benefits from leaders who understand hard work, respect taxpayer dollars, and plan for the long term. And so I'm running to bring that mindset to the village.
All right, thank you very much, Richard.
I'd like to start by thanking you for putting this together. And our administrator here on a Saturday when he doesn't have to be here, putting in his time, as well as those that have showed up to take part in the audience as well. Most are village employees at some level. So appreciate you being here. Second, thank you to those on the panel that have showed up today. I think that really speaks volumes of who really wants to be here, who really wants this position. I think that putting these 2 to 3 hours in this morning is just kind of an indicator of your commitment to this village. So thank you all for being here and being a part. It's been a great discussion. So just a little bit about me, if you don't know me. As I said, I've been doing this for, well, by the time the election comes around, it'll be 8 years. I'm looking for 2 more. I am a family man. I have 4 kids. Fun fact, this upcoming school year, I'll have 1 kid in every level of school. I have 1 in elementary, 1 in middle school, 1 in high school, and 1 in college. So that'll be fun. I started off 8 years ago with 3 major goals. One was to improve the relationship between the village board and the school board, which has been successful. I have at least a somewhat of a personal relationship with Superintendent Carl's, Principal Sabata of the high school, Charlie Schwartz of the middle school, and Principal Karsky of the elementary school. So the remaining ones are well en route, the industrial development, and then housing development is coming. So I'd like to stick around and see those through.
Great, thank you.
As Rick said, I do thank everybody for coming here. I thank you for setting this up, and Chris, the administrator, of actually thinking of the idea for this. And I do think this has been a very great opportunity to hear alternate ideas of what's going on and where our thought processes are. And I really think that it's great knowing that we are all here putting in the time to actually better our community. As stated previously, I moved here 24 years ago, and I never thought that I would still be here 24 years later. I have been asked probably since I joined the architectural board and told that I would be a really great board member. And 2 years ago, I succumbed to peer pressure from several people in the area here of putting in my hat in the ring. And I'm very grateful and glad that I did, because it has really helped me understand the community better as a whole, and what we need to do to move our community forward for future growth and prosperity. So I'm here asking to get me voted in for a second round, because I know we still have things that we need to do, and I feel like we need to keep things moving forward and hopefully continue our relationship, as Rick mentioned, with the school and our community as a whole.
Okay, great, thank you very much. Hey, Eric, you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, I'm going to reiterate the thank yous, Scott, for you, and Richard and Jessica. I am going to say what a good problem to have to choose from these outstanding candidates for the village. So, thank you all for being here. Myself speaking, so I've been married to my lovely wife, Jess, for 14 years, coming up on 15 here in October. We live up on Emerald Hills Drive. I have my 10-year-old son, Ryland, and our dog, Popcorn. We're definitely here for the long run. My daughter is buried out near Hawthorne Hills. We certainly plan on seeing the rest of our lives here and kind of joining her out there when our times come. I'm very much, as I kind of articulated in some of my answers, a process person. So I'm very, very much in my world of business. You have a couple teams. You have a team that brings in the revenue with the salespeople, and then you have the team that tries to cut costs and optimize our capital in terms of that cost controls with supply chain. So my area of expertise is more on the cost control type of method, but applying some of those CI type of initiatives to really drive cost control. I very much value this community. Fredonia is where I plan on seeing my son through high school and retiring here as well. So I have a vested interest in really making this community prosper and making it a safe community for future generations to come. So thank you all. And yeah, just thank you all for it.
Great, thank you very much. And that is going to wrap up our forum for today. To our audience, I'd like to thank you for coming today and on behalf of Mid-Moraine and the Village of Fredonia. And it's good to see some people in the audience here, and for the people that'll be watching this on Zoom at their own convenient time. We appreciate you taking the time and effort to find out about the candidates a little more. To our candidates, I've been on both sides of this table, and I know what it's like sitting there answering these questions. It's not easy. And thank you very much for being here. And I thank you, really, this is what democracy is all about. And you're showing that today by being here and participating and really wanting to make a better Fredonia. And just from listening to the answers today, I can tell that Fredonia, no matter what, is in good hands. So thank you all for coming, and that'll wrap us up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you and your fellow candidate here, so, yeah.